Well, this is for Ryan, and hopefully he will be able to finally resolve this issue. Um, we wanted more close-ups. I'm going to do what I think is the absolute best, most complete scan of this fossil yet. And I think Ryan agrees that uh, his brother was the opinion that it was an early variety of manatee, but the tusks on the manatee, here's he agreed on the man, or he thought it was a manatee because I'll show I'll show you that the tusks on the manatee came directly out the front of the upper jaw, and this certainly isn't it. But the clue that they thought was the most revealing of this is the fact that it has it has four teeth on each side. Now that's why we're going to try to concentrate on the teeth. This is the upper jaw, so everybody remember this thing is upside down, but it's the only way I can show the teeth. Now we got the four teeth, obviously molars, obviously worn down, considerably worn down. Mm. And you can see this that the root is an absolute cone. There is only one part to the root. This is not like a modern mammal. And as I said, the tusk would have, and the only manatee that ever had tusks, they would have come directly off the front end here. And these tusks were parallel, is going the same direction as the teeth. Now we're going to do a real good shot of this. Here you can see that hole there is an absolute cone. It goes right down straight to comes to a point in the bottom. Now to also establish this, we can see the teeth from the side. Now here's the teeth, the one that's broken in half, so you can see that the inside of it, and then you can see a tooth directly next to it. And this tooth directly next to it has a hole that goes straight down into the tooth, and you can also see that the tooth is round. Now these teeth, I said, are very worn, very worn. Look at this front one here, very, very worn. So this obviously was a mature animal, wasn't a young animal. So we can assume that this was the size of what a mature animal, whatever this is, would have been. Now, I guess if these are scientists, they want centimeters, and it is, as we can see here, from tip to point, it is 30 centimeters, or it is just shy of 8 inches. From side to side, it is 14 centimeters, or a little over 5 inches, just shy of 6 inches. Okay, now that I don't think the top to bottom matters, but it is a little over 3 inches from top to bottom. Now, as I was saying, that you got to remember this is the way the animal upright looks, and this is where I think the tusk went, because this part is very, very smooth, and this is part of the root to the tusk. But this is very, very smooth. And as you see, it goes right close up, just a little bit of jaw separates it from the teeth. Now if we turn it around, on the other side, you can see again that it goes right by the teeth. It would be sticking out probably on the direction this is heading. If you continued that direction, that by the time it cleared the lip, it would have been in front of the animal, as opposed to digging down into the ground type. Now here we go again. It seems that there's a little more of the root here than was on the first one. Let me see if I can get better light on that. It's now, I've just turned it, it's upside down now, but you can see that there's a little more of this material here, that the root, or it's actually part of the tusk, remaining on this side than there was on the other, although it does have roughly the same distance between where the tusk is and where the tooth is. See, because this little section in here on this one has fallen away. And here's the front. So it had a very sturdy lip, but there's absolutely no sign of any jaw missing, and that there were ever any kind of front teeth there. Okay. Now this is the upper palate, and let's switch it over and assume that this piece of material back here, that this separated the nasal passage, and when one side, of course, went down to I guess one lung and the other went down the other. I don't know. I doubt that. I'm not sure how the nasal passage worked, but that was a separation of the nasal passage. Now we're looking at the top of the animal, and again we can see that it had a very sturdy jaw, and the front of it was very bony. And then here in this section above here would have been where the nostril or the trunk or whatever came out. Now we keep turning this, and there's the side. This is why I feel that this section here, that this was tusk. This is extremely smooth, and that this was part of the root of that tusk. Go back to the other side. Same thing. Very extremely smooth. Extremely smooth. It was like, obviously there was nothing really attached here. Probably some meat protecting, keeping it from rubbing up against the actual jaw. And again, we have what appears to be part of the root to whatever that was, a tusk or what have you. But there wasn't hardly any space. As you can see, here's the very front of the snout of the upper jaw between these tusks and the upper jaw, the end of the upper jaw. So these tusks, by the time they broke out past the lower jaw, they were out in front of the animal. Now, whether they were straight or whether they were curved or whatever, I have no idea. And whether this object here, whether this had, because it's so sturdy and tough, whether this had a like a truncated part to it, like on a elephant seal, or or like on an elephant, then this is plenty sturdy to have ligaments and tendons attached to it to support something, you know, some trunk or something where otherwise the nose would have had to have been right in here someplace. So what these missing parts are, I don't know if that's the total top of where the tusk was and it's missing on that side or what. But I'm hoping that this final oh I hope it's a final viewing, but I'll give you Ryan, I'll give you as many views of this thing as you'd like. I mean there's uh, there's nothing stopping from from uh, from taking more pictures of it, closer up pictures of it. This was the back of the mouth. Here was the back of the mouth. Here was the front of the mouth. Has appears to be 4 teeth. I don't know if this is possibly an additional tooth here or not. It appears though it follows the jawbone. It doesn't appear to be, because it would have been much more worn down. And I'm just assuming that is the end of the. Here I'm going on the other side now. That there was no additional tooth here. And here's the other side. That this object here was not an additional tooth. So I surely hope that this finally puts this thing to rest, and I hope Ryan is able to help me. And I'm sorry to put everybody through this, but it really gets to you after a while. It means I've had this for 30 years. That lots of things it isn't, but so far we haven't found out what it is.